Welcome to TradeTheNBA.com. This is John. This report is for the 15th of February. Hope everyone had a great Valentine's Day. Was on with you early on the Skype chat. We were talking about, as we were coming up to the peak move up against the 2762 resistance line up there. We got all the way up to 63 before it started to roll over. I happened to point out I got like the high tick of the day at the time and showed exactly why and what the reasoning behind it was, and pretty much the strength that was showing at the beginning converted to really what is, I just enlarged the DOC a little bit more, a short snake configuration where all of a sudden the orange crosses above, the steel comes down, you had green crossing below, almost everything in that particular case. So we should get a little bit of weakness. Of course, we have a series of other support levels. The 3550 was the recent one, and then, of course, all of those ABM values, just put them right there from the deal fast all the way down. And we're likely to see a little bit of softness from that. However, you still have cyan below red, so any weakness is going to be mitigated. From an NQ standpoint, a little bit cleaner. You can see it's much sharper in its configuration. In fact, I can enlarge that just a little bit there, make it easier to see. And that's because we still have gold rising. No shock with that. A little switcheroo here, put gold in first here, and you can see the turnaround and the shakeout from the dip, and then boom, and steel coming from below is certainly going to provide that extra oomph. Kind of the opposite setup you have here with the euro, where you didn't dip below the DOC red with the steel to create that turnaround. So the bullishness of this we kind of laughed at because we knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. And guess what? It didn't go anywhere. Not a shock, because we could see the difference between this configuration and one where that steel comes from below red and crosses and then produces the nice up configuration from a 5K standpoint. Here's what I was talking about over here. We had started to make these positive extremes in pre-market where things were light, and then boom, we get to this peak one right here. Next bar opened right up into what was a nice short snake configuration, a little early, recognizing, especially with the nice rise in red going up. But if I'm catching the high tick versus trying to catch down here at 76, I've got quite a bit of an advantage, because the reality is the deviation to the upside from there is going to be a few points maybe, but also the likelihood of getting a fill back of the positive extreme before you get too late into the move. I mean, it doesn't have to be everything. What you're looking for is just continuation of the signaling, which is exactly what happened. You do get later signaling right here. Problem with this is you don't have steel moving above cyan and then back below, so a little weaker. And then likewise, where they meet here, this is one of those difficult ones for a computer, easy to see visually, where they're nearly connecting and then reject. And that led to the cascade down lower, which zero buy signal there when the orange comes in this case. Secondarily, off the P2, that one was reasonable, pretty deep down here in the shakeout situation. So looking for that next higher pivot on the shakeout right here, pretty close to the same price. That's the one that, to me, is attractive. And sure enough, look what it did. Now, I was out for some of this action as it was going through here because it was Valentine's evening, so and I had crashed the system playing with the 50K, which let me finish this one and I'll go and show you the 50K, because we made some nice adjustments to the NBI Opus. Anyway, this is a tough one right here because you don't have a clean DOC spread or anything like that. What you end up with is a little bit of a short snake spike that comes through where, you know, everything's starting to crash, but you didn't even have steel completely underneath cyan. So it's not a full setup, but by the time you get the actual full deal, all of that gain has been pretty much wiped out of that. And it just sat there long until, regained itself back over here. But that's a pain to wait. What are you going to do? Then here, where you ended up with your early DOC spray, which again, this is one of those, didn't get the steel coming above and then crossing below. Not as attractive, because if we slide over where you do have the steel coming above and below, oh, hey, what a difference. A little bit of, adjustment with a few lines can make. It is significant and matters. And then we get a little bit more of that crossover before you get a final full DOC spread with cyan breaking above strongly with steel and all of it happening at once. You already had actually isn't even what I would consider full DOC spread, because cyan had already crossed the red back over before this final little push and never regained itself. And once it made a lower pivot again, that's telltale sign that this is going, and going is gone, because here we are right down to this 2729 algo again. And that's because we needed to fill a lot of these positive extremes that existed from before, and that's exactly what we've done. I believe I put the 50K chart for us here. So what we made adjustment-wise for the 50K Opus, and for those who want to see it, if we go to Enable Strategies, the Power Mode 2 Opus 2, did have to make an adjustment on because I added the Morganacci lines to it. So it's an important one, because if you go to Format, Strategies, Properties for all, I had to change the max bars back reference to over 53, because that's what it looks for. So moved it to 60, otherwise you'll get a tries to reference bars not in existence, kind of blah, 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 blah. But let's go to the important details, which is the performance report. And here we have it. So we skyrocket the profit factor. Didn't really change percent profitable, because if we go to trade analysis, we went from like 316, 17 losers to 307. And all I did for that one was just changing that it doesn't allow it to buy on new lows of the Morganacci, which is something we wouldn't do anyway. We always wait for a plateau of the zero level before buying into that. But what we're going to start seeing here in the next evolution is, like, it will not take this buy setup here, because we didn't get a dip below the red lines. It's just not going to take that, particularly with the falling magenta setup. So there's going to be quite a few of these losers. From my count, as many as 100 will drop off of the setup, and you can see already with just dropping off, well, gosh, not even 10. From 316 to 307, it's like not even 10. We increased the profit factor dramatically. So as more of those losing trades get knocked off, this number becomes much smaller, and what you'll see is just a massive growth. Also, consistency in the equity curve. Those been pretty consistent. We had just this brief down period, which took place, I guess it was probably in October. Plus, what you'll also start to see will be an addition of shorts added to it, because it's only a long program. So, and you can see from the adjustments that we've made to the pink bar, it's pretty nice as far as what it's doing. It's putting in a value for a stop, keeps the color green until that stop is reached, only looks to exits under certain conditions, so that allows us to follow. The gray candles represent void areas where the program is in what you might call a neutral mode, where it's just like not happy with what's happening. So after this one slightly fails concept, it just sort of goes dark for a little bit before a new by configuration, and then it reactivates. And so it's just a matter of filling in some of those unique scenarios that have been blocked out, so to speak. But here's what I'm talking about. Some of these continual breakdown situations. We'll be jumping into them, and then also the trade management for some of the ones where we're below the negative 13.5 here from a shakeout standpoint. They just, you need to have the improved secondary pivots to really make those stand out, and as I tighten up those conditions, some of these just get eliminated. So it's all good stuff, and that's really what's going to be represented, and along with that, with the new configurations, ABMs will reset like this and be able to trail follow, giving a much cleaner definition of where we're at. So all in all, good stuff. You can see right now we're just sort of in a muck period, kind of flipped to short setup as we've been making the dip, which, hey, not a surprise, which means we're capturing it correctly. And it was pretty clean here. You're near matching highs, in fact, almost identical, super lower checkout. So, I mean, there's significant decline there, and that's a nice little warning. And then full DOC spread, boom. That was all the way up at the 50 level, so worked out beautifully. That's generally where things are. I'll probably send, if I can finalize a couple more of those details before market, I'll send out that update so that you can put it on your screen. Go ahead and take a look. It'll be a huge improvement from the original one that you have, but at least you won't have to do anything as far as adding a new program or whatever. You'll just be able to update the existing DOCON Paint 2, and that'll let it go right into your setup if you have it. As always, though, I will be putting up various charts on Skype chat. Trade well, and have a good end of week setup.